Bienvenidos, señoras y señores, to another Bleed Lows podcast YouTube exclusive. This is a series of YouTube content that we are doing for you subscribers on YouTube, the you who subscribe to the Bleed Lows podcast. So today's episode, we're going to be focusing on player philanthropy. Babyface and I were lucky enough to be able to attend two events, and that was the Justin Turner Foundation golf tournament that Justin Turner puts on every year, and then Mookie Betts' first event, bowling event that he did, which was for the 50/50 Foundation. So we want to share some interviews that we talked to some former Dodgers in terms of, we talked to Justin Turner, we talked to some current Dodgers, talked to Evan Phillips, and we talked to Mookie Betts at his event, and then Mickey, we talked to Miguel Vargas at Mookie's event. So we want to share these interviews with you, but we also want to discuss the philanthropy that goes on with players in the Dodgers organization. So I want to start off with Justin Turner because there was a lot of interesting things that came out of Justin Turner's interview. So, Babyface, let's roll the tape on JT.
Your guys' thoughts on from where you guys started. I mean, filling gift bags by yourselves to what this is now in the seventh year has got to be pretty special.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day. It's crazy how far we've come. Our first year doing it I think we threw it together in 3 weeks at a public golf course, and to this, and just seeing so many familiar faces come out and support, but so many new people too, and just all of our friends, volunteers, supporters, doing, like you said, like the packing the swag bags and setting up the auction with us, and just all hands on deck to make it happen for such a good cause. I don't know, it's just such a feel-good day for us.
You guys had Justin Turner Day a couple of Sundays ago, and this is kind of like another Justin Turner Foundation going away, I guess, in some ways, or a reunion. How does it feel to have so much support even on your way to Florida?
Yeah, this is our biggest fundraiser we do of the year, so it's gotten bigger and better every year, and it is kind of a nice little last event right before the season starts, and we head out to spring training, and again, the support, teammates, former teammates coming out, showing up is overwhelming, and I even had a couple guys here at 7:30 putting together signs and helping set up. Seager and Muncy were here, and they got right to work, so that was pretty cool, and it just speaks to the volumes of support that we have. We couldn't do it without everyone who constantly just shows up for us, and we ask a lot, and everyone delivers, and that gives us the opportunity to impact a lot of lives. So we're just very grateful for all the support.
How different does this year feel, especially once you said you guys saw the old group chat together? How different does this whole time of year sort of feel for you?
Actually, not at all. Right, everything just feels normal right now. I think it probably won't feel different until I'm out in Florida and starting a spring training in a different facility. So as of right now, it's the same great day out here at Sherwood, and looking forward to raise a lot of money for a great cause and helping a lot of people out.
With this being your biggest fundraiser, can you kind of quantify like how much this tournament helps your foundation?
All right, let's stop right there, Babyface. There's a couple of things that I want to address, and that is when he said that Corey Seager and Max Muncy were there early in helping him package up the giveaway bags. He's not lying. When I got there, I saw Corey Seager and Max Muncy doing that, and to me, it's just a tribute who Justin Turner is as a person. When we had our Justin Turner appreciation episode, when we talked to the Godfather Ned Coletti, El Padrino, a lot of the conversation was about what Justin Turner does for the community. The fact that the number of former players, like I was not expecting to see Corey Seager there. Corey Seager was there. Albert Pujols was there. Like former teammates, it was very important for them to come out to support Justin Turner. And the fact that this guy makes it a very conscious effort to give back to the community is just something I don't think we can take lightly, because not everybody does this. It seems like everyone does it because we just had Chris Taylor had his event, but for a while, I don't remember seeing Dodger players holding individual events. Like the Dodgers as an organization will do events where they give back to the community. But now when you have Kershaw and all the work that Kershaw does for the community with Kershaw's Challenge and other foundations, Justin Turner it just seems to be very genuine, his efforts to give back to the community. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, it seems like, there's a lot of Dodgers that are doing, or now former Dodger and Turner, right, with Taylor and Kershaw and Mookie, right? But that's just a handful of guys, right? The Dodgers, 26-man roster, right, and the other guys that are on the team, they do their parts, but maybe right now it isn't in LA. I know like Will Smith and Walker Buehler, they've been doing their stuff back in Louisville, right? So. Yeah. So kind of the same thing with Taylor, right? He said this was his first one in LA. He had been doing stuff out at back home,
in Virginia.
So in Virginia, yeah. So maybe some of these other guys are going to start doing events here too, and then too, it's also a tribute to the people that they are, like Justin Turner, that he does this, and not everybody can do this, right? We're not saying that every Dodger player has to do this. They do what they want. However they want to do their own thing, they want to give to charity or whatever, or have their own foundations or whatever. It's not easy to do, right? It's not an easy thing to do, but each player is going to do what they feel is right for them, right? In whatever way that is. And, guys like Turner do these events, or CT3, they want to do these events and kind of get the community involved. And that's awesome to see, right? And like I said, this Justin Turner was probably the biggest one, right? I mean, I know Kershaw does some big events, right, with the ping pong, and then he also puts on a concert back home in Texas. So Kershaw does some pretty big events. And this Turner, like I said, he was saying this is their biggest event of the year, and it's a pretty big deal. Like I said, having these former players come out and just other celebrities that come out and support this thing. I mean, it's a testament, like you said, to who he is and what he does for the city.
Yeah, and what was weird to me is attending this event, it's still going to it's going to be very hard to get used to the fact that he is not a Dodger, because it felt like to me like Justin Turner was still a Dodger, because all the Dodger players that were there, Muncy, we're going to see later on, we talked to Evan Phillips, but Ryan Pepio was there. Tony Gonsolin was there. I mean, to me, it's still, until probably we see him playing in that Red Sox uniform, it's one of those things that we've talked about it before. Justin Turner's always going to be a Dodger to me. So, I mean, Dave Assay was there, and, he was bringing it up. This is your last event before becoming a Red Sox. Courtney, I think, acknowledged how weird that is. So there is that little bit, that awkward transition of the fact that he's not a Dodger, but yet everyone that was covering him there was basically Dodger media or local LA media.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, because this is obviously, he said it. This is a continuing tradition. They did this, and they're looking forward to next year to do it bigger and bigger. How's next year's going to look? Is it going to look right? Is some of his former Dodger teammates going to show up, or some of his Red Sox teammates now going to show up? Are they going to still? I still expect to see a lot of Dodger guys there next year, right? I mean, it's just like you said, they're friends with JT. They know who he is, and I think this is something that they want to do and support him. Guys like Kelly that haven't been his teammate, now for last year and going forward, right? They were there, right? Nomar was there, right? Guys like that maybe didn't even play with him, right? So they know who JT is, and they want to support him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's roll the tape. Let's hear the rest of this.
Is huge, and we'll be making an announcement later today. I don't want to spoil it, but because of events like this, we're able to make bigger and bigger impacts on the community, and we're looking forward to keep going, and can't wait for the 8th annual one, and the 9th and the 10th, and looking forward to just making it bigger and better every year.
Courtney, to see the tangible effect you've had on people at the Dream Center, especially to have fun today but still have impact on people's lives. How valuable is that to you and Justin?
Yeah, I think it's good for everyone to come out and have fun and, have this beautiful day. But I think at the core, remembering why we're here is important. I think it's such a good group and everyone is here for such a good cause. But yeah, just seeing everything in motion. And you mentioned we had our JT Day a couple weeks ago, and just seeing the lives firsthand and having people come out and being able to see everything in motion, the food bank and the veterans home, people being able to see that and really see their impact in person, I think means a lot.
Justin, you grew up in Southern California, obviously Long Beach, but the connection that you guys have made with the community since then over these last 9 years, can you kind of quantify what that's meant to you?
Yeah, it's been special, and really it's almost an addiction to serving and helping and getting out and giving back as much as we can. We feel so fortunate and so blessed to be in the position that we are in, and we feel like it's a responsibility to utilize our platform that we built over the years to be able to put together events like this, to be able to raise money and give back to a lot of people in need. And obviously, the pandemic was tough on Los Angeles, and there's a lot of people still hurting and still trying to recover from that. So it's days like these that are helping us, help people get back on their feet.
Fernando's here, just a reaction to the Dodgers retiring his number.
Long overdue, I think. I think what Fernando did for the Dodgers organization, and I told him this morning, I don't think that's replaceable by anything. The fact that he brought the people back to the stadium at a time where there was a lot of upset Angelinos about building the stadium where they built it, and Fernando's the guy that rallied the troops and got the fans back and brought the Latino fan base back into Dodger Stadium, which is such a huge part of the Dodgers organization. And again, long overdue. Couldn't be more happy for him, and just throw my sombrero to the sky for Fernando. If I was wearing one, I'd toss it up right now.
All right, let's stop right there, babyface. So, I mean, you heard that a lot with everyone that we talked to about Fernando Valenzuela's jersey, his number finally being retired. It seemed like the only way people could talk about this is by saying it was long overdue. What I find really interesting there is, once again, Justin Turner talking about Valenzuela's contributions and acknowledging the Latino community and how the Latino community is so important to the Dodgers fan base. One of the things, though, that I do want to clear up is that Justin Turner had said there that Fernando brought the Latinos back. The Latinos didn't come to Dodger Stadium until Valenzuela showed up, because when they built Dodger Stadium at Chavez Ravine, the Latinos refused to go and support the Dodgers because they built Dodger Stadium at Chavez Ravine. So it's not that Fernando brought them back. I think the irony, obviously, is that they built Dodger Stadium in a Latino neighborhood, primarily a Mexican-American neighborhood, and the fans didn't support until Valenzuela showed up. And again, that to me is the reason, that is the biggest reason why I say it was so important that they retire his number, because of the contributions. His contributions are cultural. Aside from the great seasons that he had pitching for the Dodgers, his cultural impact is what separates him from the Garveys, from the Ronces, from the other guys, from the Hershiser's, from the guys who people think the Dodgers should retire their numbers. Valenzuela is different.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. We've made time and time again. That's the reason, right? That's cultural impact. Just how we changed the game for the Dodgers, for Los Angeles, right? And I've always said, don't even look at the numbers, because that has nothing to do with it. Like in this case, this special case, right? Nothing to do with it. It was totally what Fernando did for baseball in LA.
Absolutely. Let's roll the tape. Let's finish watching this.
Oh man,
Our teams are out.
Our team, yeah.
We just made the best team.
Yeah, just hopefully it's a good game and entertaining, and Yeah, not really too invested.
And hope my squares hit. That's all we can.
There we go. Yeah.
You mentioned just how different it'll be, obviously, to get to Florida, but to have some of your former teammates here, what does this mean? Just for what you're able to establish those last 8-9 years.
Yeah, not just Dodger former teammates. There's some guys from the Mets that I played with out here. Josh Satin, Ike Davis will be out here today. Pujols, some of our older Dodger players. We already talked about Fernando, but Eric Karros, Nomar Garcia-Parra, Jerry Harrison will be out here. Oral was at the party last night supporting. So the net is really cast pretty wide for former teammates and players and friends that are showing up and supporting us, and that means the world to us.
What are the emotions like? As you know, obviously, within the week, you'll be heading out to Florida. Obviously, you've been spring training in Florida before, but going back there, becoming a Boston Red Sox, and really digging into the community there and the team. What are the emotions like?
Yeah, it's a little different. I've been a part of, this will be my 5th organization now, but it was a little different when I came over to the Dodgers, and I didn't have a personal relationship with anyone there. I was kind of meeting everyone for the first time. But going over this time, Kike, Kenley, Chris Martin, Verdugo, a lot of familiar faces. I actually played with Alex Cora, so a lot of people that I already know already, and I think it's going to be a pretty seamless transition.
You're pretty vocal about wanting to be back.
Let's stop right there, babyface. I've been hearing a lot that the Red Sox have turned into Dodgers East. Because of the number of people that are over there. I'm sure, like in all sports, if something is successful, everybody wants to copy it. It didn't seem to work for the Red Sox, before. They didn't have a very strong season. But it seems like you have to take him at his word, because it seems like Kike was a big part of the recruiting process to get Justin Turner over there.
Yeah. And, I think that, to me, I think that's probably like one of the main reasons, right, that he went with that familiarity with Kike and Kenley. If you remember a couple of years ago, it was kind of reversed when Kenley was a free agent and he almost left, right? And Justin Turner was one of the guys that they spoke to at Kenley's wedding. And they said, no, we're coming back to LA. I think Turner was a free agent too, right? That same year. So they both came back.
There were a lot of weddings in that off season.
Yeah. So I think that familiar, knowing that Kenley's there, these guys seem to, they're really good friends, with Kike. And so I think that is going to help him a lot making that transition to Boston.
Yeah. I don't think we can lose sight of the fact that these people are human beings and they have relationships. And you could probably go somewhere that, as Justin Turner just said in that clip, when he first came to the Dodgers, he didn't know anybody. So it's got to be easier going over to the Red Sox, where you at least have some people that there. So let's finish watching the rest of this clip.
Source that in, sort of that you're meeting somewhere else?
I think I get reminded of it almost every day, running into people, talking to people with kind of the same reaction. But again, it's a reminder that it's a business, and it's a reminder that you don't always get what you want, and it's a reminder that the last 9 years wearing a Dodger uniform were absolutely spectacular, and I couldn't be more proud of everything we accomplished. I couldn't be more proud of bringing a championship back to LA. And I'm actually looking forward to this new chapter and putting on the Red Sox uniform. It should be a lot of fun, and like I said, I can't wait to get out there.
JT,
let's stop right there. I find it very interesting right there that, once again, he stresses that it's an important reminder that this is a business. And first of all, 9 years with the Dodgers, to me, it feels like he's played 20 years with the Dodgers. I feel like he had a much longer than 9 years. It seems longer than 9 years, honestly, to tell you the truth. But when he said you don't always get what you want, to me, once again, reiterates the fact I think he wanted to stay with LA. I think he's very surprised that this deal didn't get done. And it's unfortunate because I think, like Kershaw, you want to see Justin Turner finish his career with the Dodgers. You don't want to see him go play for a year or two with another team. These guys are Dodgers, so I think you heard it. Obviously, I don't think he's going to. I know I've heard him talk about it on other interviews, but I don't know if you're going to get much more details about what happened, but you can see it there. The guy wanted to stay with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, he said it's a business, like you said, and he said it. You always don't get what you want. So that, to me, it's clear he wanted to be a Dodger, but you can relate to that, right? Like, you want a job and you don't get it sometimes for whatever reason, right? And you got to move on. So, like, he still feels he has, time to, he's still ready to play, and he's capable of playing this game, for whether it's another year or another 2 years, and he's going to give it a shot, and he's going to continue, and I think he'll do fine in Boston. I mean, he didn't fall off a cliff, numbers wise. I mean, he had a really strong second half. He had a slow start, but really strong second half, right? Playoffs, he didn't do good. I mean, but who did anything right in the playoffs, right? So, I mean, I expect to see typical JT numbers in Boston, right?
Yeah, hopefully that's the case. We're getting to the point that the quote that I really want to get into. So let's roll the tape on the rest of this.
Whoa,
There's two of them.
I definitely underestimated your sneakiness.
I mean,
Are you wearing socks?
I am wearing socks.
Okay. Have you ever seen Mr. Deeds?
I have seen
Okay,
it.
okay, just checking.
Good reference.
Yeah,
Good
thank you.
reference
All
there.
right.
Appreciate it. Did, before you signed with the Sox or in your conversations with them, did Alex ever address, the whole 2017 thing with you, or did you guys?
We haven't dove into that yet, but I'm sure that's a conversation that will be had in person, probably right when we get there and get that conversation over with, and then move on and focus on my baseball games.
You got a few you guys over there.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, JT.
Is that it?
From this side.
Okay. Wow.
Back
All
around
right,
over here.
let's pause right there. So that to me got really awkward. And you can see that Justin Turner, I don't think, wanted to go into much detail in it. And this is, again, one of those things where you had mentioned it, Babyface, this is a business. The Red Sox paid you, and because the Red Sox paid you, you got to go pay there. You got to go play there. But you're playing with a guy who cheated you of a championship. And I find it very interesting.
And was bragging about it, right?
And was recently bragging about it, if you believe that kind. Dave S.A. has said that's not the Alex Cora he knows. But Kike was already over there. So it seems like these guys are able to put it behind them because they have to. They want to keep playing, and they want to get paid. Probably we as fans, we should also probably get by this. It seems a little bit, I don't know, maybe you can, and maybe it's not hypocritical. Maybe you can do both. Maybe you can still be upset and hold them accountable, but at the same time put it behind you and say, I got to move forward. But it just seems like this never goes away. It always goes back to 2017. It always goes back to you guys cheated. And no matter how many times you want to move forward on it, there's always something that goes, well, okay, well, you had a problem with it there, but you don't seem to have a problem playing for this guy. And recently, it's been in the media, the Dodgers again. This is now another book that is accusing the Dodgers of cheating. We heard this the first time when there was another book talking about the whole Astros cheating. And it referenced the same year that Evan is referring to, and that's 2018. The Milwaukee Brewers had accused the Dodgers of cheating. Dave Roberts recently commented on this and said, look, Major League Baseball investigated us, and there was nothing found, so there was no punishment. Are we ever going to get to a point, Babyface, where we're going to be able to put this whole 2017 World Series behind us?
Nope.
You're always going to hold it against it, even if it does come out. If there's more and more stories saying that the Dodgers cheated the following year, and maybe have been cheating this whole time, you still are going to hold 2017 against the Astros.
Yeah, I don't buy the 2018 stuff because it's a former Red Sox player. Like there's no name to it. It's kind of just hearsay. Kind of like there's no real meat to it. It's just somebody saying something, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 17, we know what happened in 17, right? And we've gotten into this many times. There's always going to be holding that 17 because nothing was done to the Astros. Like I said, for starters, like we've always said, starters stripped of the title, and you go from there, right? So there was never any punishment. So that's why you can never get past 17. And I said this before because baseball playoffs are such a crapshoot, right? They're such a crapshoot. Like take this past season, Dodgers best team in baseball, right? And they flame out in the first round, right? Crapshoot, right? It makes 17 that much worse because you know how the playoffs, anything can happen in playoffs, right? And to get a title stolen from them, right? They should have won in 17. They should have won. That was their year. That was like their compared to like this year. Those are the two best teams they've had in the last 5-6 years, right? So they should have won. They should have had that. They should have won in 17. Then they should have won in 20, right? And then you can make a case like we said in 18. 18 was tough. The Red Sox were a really good team that year. In 19, they were a good team as well, and then they lost to the Nationals, right? So again, things like that, like we said, things happen in baseball, right? They lost to the Nationals, a team that they should have lost to, right? So it just makes 17 that much worse that you had that title stolen from you.
Right, but I still can't sit there and say that the Dodgers should have won in 17 only because of this. The Dodgers had every opportunity to beat them even while they were cheating. If Kenley doesn't give up that home run in Game 2, the Dodgers could very easily have won that series. If they weren't, I guess if the Astros weren't cheating in that crazy Game 5, that is very easily the Dodgers could have won that series.
They would have won it. They would have won it. Yeah, they would have won it in Houston.
So but the thing is this, and we're talking about Evan Drellich's new book, but I'm saying when we had Andy Martino on this show talking about his book, Cheated, in his book, and that was, I don't know how many years ago, there was reference of the Dodgers cheating. And it was the Brewers were accusing them. It wasn't the Red Sox. It was the Brewers.
But again,
so now we have another book where a different team is accusing them.
But it's always been like, oh, these guys are cheating. It's like there's no proof. There's no physical proof of anything.
But we don't know because there's been no transparency on Major League Baseball's part. Major League Baseball has never showed us the investigation to the Dodgers.
If they were cheating, there'd be a guy that would come out like the A's pitcher and say, you know what, these guys were cheating, and here's the proof. If there is a player that knows that they were cheating, there'd be a player that would come out and say it.
Do you think after seeing the reaction that Mike Friars got for coming out, you still think there would be another player? Because Friars basically...
But it doesn't have to be a current player. It could have been a player that retired from 17 on and say...
Well, there was that player, but nobody believed him. It was Reddick. Reddick played for the Dodgers.
But look at his track record.
What is his track record?
That he's not very well liked. Nobody believes him. So it's like,
I look. I'm not saying either way, but I think we just need to be prepared for Dodger fans. If something there's just been a lot of smoke, and if something eventually comes, we as Dodger fans have to accept this. I think sooner or later we have to move on from this. I mean, this is still an issue.
I mean, I get, we've moved on, but like I said, you just can't take away the anger from 17, though. Like I said, for those reasons, because they were cheated out of a title that they
But
should
we
have
have
won.
players who obviously can. I mean, Geeke.
Well,
Now you have Kenley.
I mean, of course,
and
I'm sure they're pissed off, but they got to move on. They're trying to win another title, and
Yeah.
as fans, we fans want titles. Like, yeah, we won a title here, we won a title here, right? That fans love that, right? Saying, "Oh, my team won a title," right? And that got taken away from fans, so fans are going to hold on to that. Fans are different than players, right? Players can go out and win another title. As fans, yeah, Dodgers win another title this year. Hey, that's cool, but if say the Dodgers do win out another title, go out and win this year, then you'd still be like, damn, we should have been champions in 17, 20, and now 23. That's a dynasty, right?
they would be viewed. It would definitely be viewed differently if they did win. Those were the most interesting parts of the Justin Turner thing. I want to move on to. We also talked to Evan Phillips there. Evan Phillips was one of the Dodgers that attended this tournament, supporting Justin Turner. So let's roll the tape on and see what a friend of the carne asada Evan Phillips had to say.
Your thoughts on helping JT out and coming to be a part of this tournament?
It's a privilege, honestly, to be a part of this and just be around so much good happening for JT's foundation. It's my first time participating. Had a great time last night at the casino night event and looking forward to a great round of golf.
How's your golf game in the wind?
We'll see. I think everyone's golf game out here is going to be somewhat the same. No one here is playing on tour or anything, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Evan, we know you're a coffee connoisseur. I saw you drinking coffee earlier. How's the coffee situation here?
Coffee available is always priority number one. So the fact that we have it on hand here, it's a little chilly morning. So far, that's been the big thing so far. But I saw a great coffee station over here to the left. They got custom, imprints of JT's foundation and stuff. So pretty cool stuff.
And Evan, how much does an event like this inspire you to get involved in the community and give back?
It was really important to me to participate because JT has been such a role model for all of us players, and I think anyone that's interested in doing this sort of thing in their career, this is a great way to get your foot in the door and learn about what the foundation is like, learn about the good that it does, and learn honestly how difficult it can be to manage all this. So it's been great to get to know JT and Courtney and learn from them. Absolutely.
How big is that void, just not having him in that room next year?
We're going to miss him. I think it's one thing that goes understated is how much we're going to miss his presence. People always talk about how he was our clubhouse glue, and there's a lot of truth to that. But baseball will go on. It's a business. Everyone understands that. So I don't think there's a way we can fill that void, but we certainly wish him the best.
And then I remember you told me if you weren't a baseball player, you'd be trying to make it on the PGA. And how do you think you could have made it as a golfer?
Who knows, right? If I would have put as much effort as I did into baseball, you'll never really know. But I tell you what, the passion I have for baseball can't be matched. I don't know if I could ever be as passionate about anything else.
I think so, Evan.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Evan, last one. Now, you were just at FanFest. They made a big announcement. The Leyendas number is getting retired, Fernando Valenzuela. Before you came to the Dodgers, how aware were you of Valenzuela?
I was definitely aware of his time as a Dodger. I think he was an all-time great. So I think it's long overdue that his number's retired, but it's going to be a really exciting ceremony later this year.
So, again, this is just a perfect example. Evan Phillips has played with Justin Turner for one season. And it was important for him to go and support Justin Turner. And you mentioned one of the things that he mentioned that I thought was really interesting was him learning. So I am kind of curious to see if maybe Evan Phillips is going to want to do some philanthropy in the future, and maybe he's picking Justin Turner's brain to see, hey, how did you set this up? And I wonder if that's what happens with a lot of Dodgers. I wonder if Chris Taylor learned from Justin Turner when Chris Taylor started setting up his foundation. Not only from Justin Turner, maybe they learned from Clayton Kershaw. So it's really, to me, it was a cold morning. Let me tell you, we were there, and it was cold. It was wind. They had to delay the start of the tournament because there was ice on the golf course. So for these guys to come out there on their own time to support, I cannot reiterate what this says about Justin Turner, that you had this many people come out here and show up to support you.
And also too, like you were saying, you said you saw it, and Turner, JT said it, that Muncy and Seager were out there, helping him out before everybody started. So, I mean, this isn't this is still something that they pretty much do on their own. Like they don't like, oh, let's hire a group that's going to go out there and set all this stuff up for me and do all this. This is still done by them. I saw on their socials, like the day before, they were packing the goodie bags. They were still packing. JT and Courtney were packing those things up. I saw Chris Taylor and his wife on their socials, people that ordered hats, and they were boxing them up and sending them out. I mean, that stuff, it takes time, and it's a lot of work to do. And like I said, yeah, they probably could hire people to do that, but they're actually doing the work. It's not like, you know what, we'll just hire somebody to do that and take care of all that stuff, which they easily could do, right? But
Absolutely.
no, they're in the trenches, as you say.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's segue to friend of the carne asada. We ran into Joe Kelly there. Let's roll the tape on Joe Kelly.
Here we are with Mariachi Joe, being a real one here by wearing the hat. Joe, why are you supporting Justin Turner? Why is it so important?
Well, if it wasn't for Justin, a lot of our wins, I would say, that we had when we were on the Dodgers together would not be there. Honestly, people always like say good answers about their friends on charity events or things like these, but Justin's different. You know, I've been to charity events where you're like, all right, I'm supporting the cause, you know, more than probably the person. But here I'm supporting both of them, and Justin's one of the best teammates I've ever had. He's super down to earth, you know that. He doesn't give you any answer that's a lie, and you know he's a good human being. So anything that we can do to help support him and the foundation and stuff is exactly what I'm here for. And we're gonna get lucky today because I brought one book that we're gonna auction off. That we are gonna auction off here after the tournament. And we'll see how well it does for the foundation.
And what book is that, Joe?
A Damn Near Perfect Game. Make sure you guys get that thing.
And that's once again, I cannot thank that man enough. He showed up wearing that Bleed Los hat. Okay, Babyface and I were on with the rest of the media, and someone walked up to Babyface and said, "Hey, Joe Kelly's wearing your hat." And it's so great of him to go out there and support. He is an ambassador of the Bleed Los podcast. For those of you who are not aware, so far we have two ambassadors: the legend Joe Beimel, and then of course Joe Kelly. But I enjoy so much talking to a friend of the carne asada, Joe Kelly, because he keeps it real. Like he flat out said, "Look, I'm here because I want to support Justin Turner because Justin Turner is a good dude." So no matter what the cause is for Justin Turner, the fact that Joe Kelly came and wanted to be there in person, and that's the other thing that I can't stress enough. These guys could very easily have cut a check and just donated to the JT Foundation. But they showed up in person, and that's because I'm assuming they wanted to hang out with Justin Turner, their friend.
Yeah, and Kelly, right now he's been in Arizona. He normally lives in Riverside, but they've been in Arizona, I think, all off season for whatever reason. So he came down specifically for this, right? Like some of the other guys, they were in LA maybe for FanFest, or like Max Muncy was in LA for FanFest before he went back home. So they were able to come. Or guys live in LA, but he, what? I'm gonna go to LA. Got on a plane or whatever, and went to the golf tournament.
Absolutely. And another reminder: check his book. I think his book is coming out in a couple of weeks, right, Babyface?
Yeah, at the end of the month. Yeah,
at the end of the month. It's an excellent book. If you haven't placed your order yet, go do it. Support friend of the carne asada, Joe Kelly, because he's fantastic.
I have a copy here too, if you guys want to see what it looks like too, real quick.
We're gonna sit here and we're gonna a damn near perfect game. Joe Kelly and another friend of the carne asada, Rob, wrote that. So support both of those guys. Those are great guys. So that was, we had all this love and all these players supporting Justin Turner, and you just saw how genuine it was, to how important it is to support the community and give back to the community. There was another event that we were able to attend, and that was Mookie Betts' charity event with Bowling with Friends. supporting the 50/50 Foundation. And so we were able to talk to a few players there. I think, why don't we start off with a friend of the carne asada, Miguel Vargas, Babyface.
¿Cómo te fue en el Fan Fest el sábado?
Oh, súper bien, súper contento de compartir tiempo con todos los fanáticos y esperando por el comienzo de este año.
Y cuando anunciaron que iban a retirar el número de Valenzuela, ¿te sorprendiste?
No, obviamente no, claro que no. Creo que ha sido una estrella y ha sido un representante de todos nosotros los latinos, ¿no? Y creo que es un orgullo que haya retirado su número ahora.
¿Todavía no te gusta la salsa?
No, todavía no me gusta el picante, ¿no?
Pero aquí en Los Ángeles te vamos a enseñar, lo picante está bueno.
Voy a intentar con par de tacos. Yo creo que puedo jugar básquet, yo puedo ahí tirar un par de movimientos, yo creo, todavía. No, I don't know about bowling. I'll go try today, maybe.
Entonces, ¿en el básquetbol puedes dominar a LeBron James?
No way. No chance.
I got to tell you, I'm really rooting for this guy because I feel like he shows more personality than a lot of the Dodgers. He came onto the blue carpet and he clearly had like no clue what to do. He came over to us. Like I said, he is a friend of the carne asada. I love that he mentioned they had asked him, for those of you who don't speak Spanish, they had asked him what other sport other than baseball would he be willing to play, and he mentioned basketball. He felt like he could do a couple of moves, and I had asked him if he could dominate LeBron James, and he said there was no chance. But there was a little throwback, if you caught that, Babyface, when I asked him about the salsa, whether he still doesn't like salsa. And he was famous on the show for saying no pico. He doesn't like no pico because it's too hot for him. But he did say he's willing to give it another chance by ordering a taco, which I felt was a direct recognition of the Bleed Los podcast and the carne asada.
Yeah, Miggy knows what's up. He knows Taco Town, right? So we still got to get him some tacos out to the stadium. We'll put a little bit of picante sauce on there for him.
Absolutely. We also got to talk to, believe it or not, some of you may not know this, but former Dodger Kenny Lofton. Kenny Lofton is always associated with what was formerly known as the Cleveland Indians. Now they are the Cleveland Guardians. But Kenny Lofton played for the Dodgers, and he was there supporting at the event. So let's hear from Kenny Lofton.
Announced that they are retiring finally Fernando Valenzuela's jersey. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, that's a long time coming. He's a great. I mean, he comes from where he come from, and be able to dominate the game like he did. And I mean, he treasured the Dodgers. He was Dodger blue, thick and thin, on and out, and they gave him the opportunity, and he took advantage of it. So I'm glad that they finally did that for him, and well appreciated.
You know, Mookie at the All-Star break was making a big argument about diversity. How important is diversity in baseball?
Well, it's tough. You know, it's tough. When you saw the World Series, you saw how the diversity is. But it's, again, for myself and Mookie, understanding the African-American and black players coming to the game, it's starting to dwindle. When I came in '91, it was at an all-time high, and then it just went downhill from there. But I think the opportunity for scouts and people, the organizations, go in certain neighborhoods and areas to find these kids. That these kids are out there. But the problem is with all these what you call these leagues and what they call those things, the travel ball, and a lot of kids from the hood, they can't afford that, so they are kind of stuck. And you know, and maybe Major League Baseball can do like a scholarship fund or something for the inner city for these kids to be able to be on part of those travel ball teams, and maybe we might find a few more Mookie Betts out there.
The World Baseball Classic is coming up. That's an international competition. We're going to see diversity on the stage. If the WBC was around while you were in the major leagues, would you have played?
No doubt. I would have played, and I mean, it would have been between me and Griffey in center field, so it would have been tough. You know, they would have took Griffey over me, but I would have took left field. But yeah, it would have been something that I would have been proud to do. But again, these guys from the Dominican and Puerto Rico and Venezuela and Cuba, these guys can play.
Don't be so humble. You know Griffey would be on the bench and you'd be starting over him, right?
No, he's Ken Griffey Jr. He's the kid. So they would have kicked me like they do in the All-Star games. They cooked me to left field.
Thanks a lot, Kevin.
So I mean, a couple of things there with Kenny Lofton, and that is, could you imagine if they would have started the World Baseball Classic earlier? The guy, I mean, who knows? They might not have played, but if you would have had a Team USA with like Ken Griffey Jr., but it could be kind of also like in basketball, where I feel like the rest of the world now has kind of caught up to the American team. Back in the 90s, do you think the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans and the Venezuelans would have presented the loaded teams that they have now?
Probably not. I'm trying to think back at some of those players, late 90s, 2000. I mean, you had like Sammy Sosa, right?
Yeah.
But on the American side, though, you had, I mean, that's like the steroid area, though, right? Like you had McGuire, Bonds. I mean, imagine those guys on Team USA, McGuire, Bonds, Greg Maddux, pitching Roger Clemens. I mean, I think the USA would have had a really, packed team back then. I think more than some of the foreign teams. I think I don't think there was as many star players like from the Dominican and Puerto Rico and as many players as there is now.
Yeah, and that's why, to me, when I hear Kenny Lofton talk about diversity, and Mookie did what he did at the All-Star game, to me, the growth, you want to grow baseball, the growth in baseball is international now. I mean, you're talking about Japan. How many players from Asian countries now do we see in the major leagues? Not only Japan, but Korea, Taiwan. I mean, we have that, plus we have the Latin American countries. I mean, you got teams in the World Baseball Classic now. Israel, the Netherlands. I mean, Curacao. We have players from Curacao.
Great Britain, right? They're in the pool.
Great Britain. The game is now, that's where the growth is. The growth is international. It is no longer just an American sport. It is an international sport. And that's why I feel diversity is so important, because it makes the game better.
Yeah. I mean, I still think, though, like we need to continue to, here in the U.S., right, is grow the sport with all the diversity that we have here of young kids, right? There's a lot of players here, a lot of good kids here, and we do need to get that diversity back, from the American, because like right now there's a very good American team in the WBC, but how's it going to be in 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it just going to be strictly like dominated by Dominicans or the Puerto Ricans? Like, we'll see.
And that's why I'm very curious to see where this tournament goes, because this year it seems everybody's all in. I'm hopeful we have a very good tournament, and this continues to encourage people to participate in this tournament, and we have this same level of commitment every year. I'm rooting for this tournament to succeed. I want it to continue to grow. I would love for it to get to World Cup levels, which is a very tall order. But I would love for it to, I mean, I know it's a pipe dream, but I would love for it to get there.
I mean, even like a tenth of that, It's
yeah. Even just a tenth of that. So finally, we got to talk to the man of the hour at this event, and that's Mookie Betts himself. So let's roll the tape on Mookie.
The Dodgers just recently announced they're retiring Fernando Valenzuela's jersey. I know diversity is important to you. What's it like playing at Dodger Stadium and seeing those fans, all different creeds and colors out there?
Yeah, it's super cool. It's super cool to see a melting pot, and where I'm from is a melting pot. Where I went to school is a melting pot. Where she went to school is a melting pot. So it's all very familiar, and it's just home. Yeah.
So at this point, you guys are very involved here. Is it important? It seems like everybody on the Dodgers, a lot of players have a lot of charity events. Is there a little competition between you guys as to who can help the community more?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just that's what we do. That's what the Dodgers do, and we help the community. The community helps us, and so it's important for us to give back.
What's your say to someone to encourage them to support
If you want to give kids opportunities, right? Whatever opportunity is, it doesn't matter if it's medical, financial,
skill sets in life, just
whatever.
anything in general. Yeah, we plan to help the community, the kids in any way possible that they need.
Yes, ma'am.
On that diversity, MLB The Show kind of added the yearling players in it. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's they were very much a part of history, and they created where we are today, and so they should get recognition, and I'm super happy that they are.
You know, I feel like Mookie's been taking some heat this offseason, and I just want to remind people that he does stuff like this, and he doesn't have to. I mean, we've talked about it already before with Justin Turner and Chris Taylor and all the other Dodgers that are doing this kind of. They don't have to do it, and the fact that they do it, you know, in many people's eyes, some people may say they should be doing this. You know, we shouldn't be acknowledging them for doing something. They have a lot, and they're giving back what they can. But still, I mean, there may be other players that maybe aren't as public with their contributions, with their philanthropy. Maybe they do it behind the scenes. But I know it seems like Mookie gets a lot of crap because he didn't show up to FanFest, because he's bowling, and that somehow that Mookie doesn't care. He didn't have the strongest playoff series last year. And Babyface, I know you've said this before. Who did? I mean, it was just Freddie Freeman. You know, Freddie Freeman, it seemed to be the only one who really showed up. But I think we need to give Mookie credit for doing this. One of the things that did stand out to me between these two events was the number of Dodgers, the number of players that showed up to support Justin Turner's event, as opposed to the number of people that showed up in person to support Mookie's event. And again, this could mean, and there might have been a lot of Dodger players that cut checks for Mookie and didn't show up, but they still supported him. I know a lot's been said because Mookie didn't show up to other Dodger players' events. Maybe that's why they didn't show up here for Mookie. But that to me did stand out. One of the interviews that we didn't show, but we had a chance very briefly to speak to JD Martinez, I thought it was interesting that Miguel was there, because it seems that Miguel and JD Martinez they worked out together in the offseason. It seems like they've been maybe establishing a relationship, a bond. I love what I'm seeing from Miguel Vargas, because I feel like he gravitates to these veterans, and he's just trying to pick their brains and trying to find a way to get better. So I'm very encouraged, and once again, that's why I'm rooting for him. What were your thoughts on this whole Mookie Betts bowling? This was also the first year he did it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. It's the first year, kind of like I don't know what the JT one looked like the first year. I mean, I know Courtney had mentioned that it was like at a public golf course, and they kind of just put it together. And so I'm sure there wasn't a turnout like there was at this past one, right? So
right.
I'm sure, as you know, maybe next year that there's more players, it's bigger. Maybe it's during the week, maybe it's during the season. You never know when. I remember James Loney used to do one, and it used to be during the season. He used to do a bowling thing too. So who knows? Like, I'm sure they're testing the waters, kind of like, okay, this was our first one. How can we make it better for the next one? How can we improve? And we'll see those things next year, and I'm sure we'll see more players out there, supporting it and as it goes forward.
Were you surprised by the turnout at the Mookie event?
I kind of expected a couple more players to be there. I mean, for whatever reason, like I said, I don't know why they weren't there. I mean, maybe bowling wasn't their game, like I said, or just other commitments.
Yeah, but look, I mean, this off season, we were lucky enough to attend 3 of these events. We had Chris Taylor's, Justin Turner, and Mookie Betts. Look, you can criticize the Dodgers for many things, but the fact that these players are making an effort to give back to the community, and that the Dodgers organization was there to support them, because these aren't Dodger sanctioned events. These are events that the players themselves are doing. The fact that the Dodgers are there to support them, you can criticize the Dodgers for many things. I think there's also times where we need to acknowledge their efforts. The fact that they are trying to give back to the community and be involved in the community, to me, is a nice thing to see, and I'm proud to be a fan of an organization that does that.
Yeah, I look forward to these events. I mean, the next one I think on the calendar would probably be like Kershaw's ping pong tournament mid-season. So
the Kershaw's Challenge. We were there last year. Hopefully, we'll get invited again, and we're going to come and we're going to bring you this coverage. We're going to bring you interviews as people get used to seeing the carne asada on these blue carpets when we clearly have no business being there. We totally stand out, right, babyface?
Yeah, I think sometimes they think we're the help, but
we're the cleaning crew, right?
Yeah, we're getting the interviews done.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to do it for this episode. This has been another YouTube exclusive on the Bleed Lows podcast. If you've just stumbled across us on YouTube, hey, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube. You can watch our regular episodes from our podcast on here, but occasionally we do episodes like this that are exclusive just to the YouTube channel. So, yo he sido su servidor, Juan Ramírez, de parte de mi colega Babyface. This has been a Bleed Lows podcast YouTube exclusive. Nos vemos para la próxima.